Whitney, you can stand closer to him.
Okay, y'all good?
Yep.
All right, y'all, thanks for coming out. We're at Manhattan and Westbank Expressway. Early today, one of our deputies ended up spotting a vehicle where a suspect who was wanted for a simple kidnapping, a burglary, and a simple criminal damage from a few days ago. Attempted to make a traffic stop on the vehicle, and a pursuit ensued at that location. I think it was off of maybe Barataria. It ended up getting here to this location at Manhattan at the up ramp, where a lot of my units were able to pin that vehicle in and stop it as it was trying to get up the up ramp. While they were doing that, they ended up hearing 2 gunshots inside of the vehicle itself. None of my officers fired, but heard the gunshots from inside. Airbags had been deployed on that suspect vehicle on both sides, so they really didn't have a good view into it. But looking into it, we could see the individual moving inside it. We activated our drone team and SWAT team. Drone team showed a movement on there, but although we could tell that the subject had headshot himself during that encounter. We ended up utilizing our SWAT team, making an approach, trying to get that airbag out of the way, cutting the seatbelt off, and utilizing our canine to pull him out. I've been told that EMS, he has certainly perished from that gunshot wound, which appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Our homicide and coroner's office and obviously crime scene will come out here and process it. Try the people to avoid the area. Right now we have the Westbank Expressway at Manhattan pretty much shut down. We're going to open up north and south traffic on Manhattan very shortly, and then we'll open up the Westbank traffic on the Westbank Expressway heading towards Westwego very shortly to try to clear that up. But the East Bank side or the eastbound side at Manhattan will be shut down for a good period of time, waiting for them to be able to process that scene. Take any questions?
How delicate of a situation is this when we have people trying to use like the park here and drivers trying to get around?
Well, it was. I mean, obviously we cordoned off a big area knowing that the suspect had a gun. We heard the gunshot itself. We couldn't see inside, but the visual that we had was he was still moving at that period of time. Looks like it, from my view, it looks like a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. So obviously have residual movements from it, but we were certainly being safe in order to make sure our approach didn't cause anything else. But obviously clearing out that area, this is a huge intersection, clearing it out, making sure nobody was in line of fire from that approach, and we worked quickly in order to make it happen. Luckily, it's very close to all of our facilities here, so our SWAT team, drone teams are very close to be able to get here within a quick period of time and start the assessments.
Can you tell me a little bit about what led up to this situation? You mentioned that it was a kidnapping.
Yeah, I don't know the scenario of it. I know he was wanted for it from a few days ago. That's the warrant in the computer, but I don't know anything about the circumstances that led up to the warrant for those charges.
Was the the suspect's kidnappee,
I don't know.
That's all good. And just one more question.
Oh, were they in the car? No, he was by himself in the car.
Okay, well, that's another good point.
Okay,
but
yes.
Another question. One thing I did notice, I'm just curious on the procedure. The door was open, and I saw at one point the SWAT team, or one portion of the SWAT team, flashbang and then move towards the car, get pretty close to it, but then back up again and get back.
They used a distractionary device as a flashbang to make their initial approach and cut the seatbelt off. We weren't going to be able to utilize the canine to be able to pull him out without the seatbelt cut off. So they made an approach. We were able to cut the seatbelt off. At that time, there was no movement from that perspective, and so they were able to retreat and utilize the canine to our advantage to make sure we didn't have to make an approach to have to use deadly force if need be. And in this case, obviously, it wasn't needed.
Do you have a name, age on the suspect?
I don't. That'll be something the coroner's office will release probably tomorrow.
Okay.
And about what time did this begin?
I have no clue. I was actually busy earlier when I got the call, but probably an hour ago, I guess.
Tell me a little bit about, you all always want to end these situations, obviously, without having to use deadly force, but I'm sure it's still a sad situation, being that it was a self-inflicted gunshot.
It always is. I mean, let's face it, he would have went to jail and faced the charges, the pursuit began, and we certainly have to exercise our ability to enforce the law. He had those charges that were out. I don't know what he did. I don't know why he did it, but he certainly took the means to end it himself today, and I hope it's not fun by any means, but as I say often enough, it is what it is, unfortunately.
And I saw on one of the stretchers a resuscitation device.
EMS, as soon as it was clear for EMS approached and checked for any vital signs. And once it was cleared from that standpoint, then it stopped. Once they approached, we were done. Yeah.
Okay, and one thing I saw utilized today that, in a lot of scenarios I don't really see much is the canine. For cases like this where it's so delicate and you really don't want to, use any use as little human force as possible in this. Having these canines, how important is that for this?
Well, canine's great, especially that particular canine. That canine is assigned to our SWAT team, so it actually trains with our SWAT team in close proximity with it. And it's the way to be able to bring a suspect to us, right? Especially in a situation like this, where we don't have a clear view of a hand. We know the suspect is in possession of a firearm, and we don't want to have to put my deputies in a position that it turns into something worse from that standpoint. So utilizing that canine to do a job, and he did a great job today.
And was he deceased for the majority of this stance, and it was more of just a cautionary thing?
You know, I don't know when it was. Obviously, when we first got out here, we could see residual movement, and the movement certainly occurred, and that's what slowed down that process to make sure. But when he passed away, I'm not 100% sure. We utilized great care in order to try to develop a plan to get to him quickly. We knew it was an inflicted gunshot wound. We could see it bleeding from that standpoint. We thought about utilizing our robots to try to get it, but that was going to take too much time. So we actually put our men and canine at risk in order to try to make a quicker approach to the vehicle in case life-saving measures could be utilized. But in this case, you know, it didn't work out. But we certainly took that into consideration while developing our plan in order to try to get to him sooner.
And just to make sure 100% clarification, there was